Leon Kruger's hand burned with an unholy fire. The pain shot up his muscular forearm in pulses, each one stronger than the one before. The sensation felt like a cramp that originated in the palm of his left hand and radiated along his forearm. Leon grimaced as he rotated his wrist. He desperately wanted to jab the scarred knuckles of his right hand into the fleshy section of his left, but he couldn't. Because his left hand didn't exist. Leon eyed the flesh-colored prosthesis that peeked from his long-sleeved shirt. Though the fingers were made of plastic and rubber instead of flesh and bone, the appendage looked real, and he could do a respectable job controlling the fake digits, thanks to the biometric sensors arrayed across his forearm muscles. 20 years of combat, paired with exponential advances in body armor technology and trauma medicine, had produced some unforeseen offspring. Horrific injuries that would have ended their recipients' lives even a decade earlier were now survivable, which meant the prosthesis business was booming. His computer-augmented prosthesis was quite literally the best money could buy, but it wasn't real. A fact that his central nervous system never stopped reminding him of. The phantom pain seemed to correlate with Leon's emotions, particularly stress. The greater his worries, the more frequent the phantom pain episodes, and the greater the discomfort. At the moment, Leon had stress in spades. A car turned into the gravel driveway, raising a cloud of dust as the vehicle transitioned from pavement to rock. Leon was a native of South Africa, and he loved his homeland's breathtaking coastlines and near-perfect weather. That said, even he found it hard not to like California. Most non-California natives thought of the Pacific's cold waters or miles of sparkling beaches as being unparalleled. But he considered South Africa to be the equal to the Golden State in these areas. However, the beauty currently surrounding him was like nothing he'd ever seen. The sky was a special shade of blue, a cobalt pastel mixed with just a hint of cerulean at the point where sky touched earth. The shade steadily deepened to a dark azure the higher Leon's eye tracked above the horizon. The terrain itself was a study in contrasts. Toffee-colored rolling mountains were interspersed with pines, oaks, and cedars. Knee-high wild grass gave way to clumps of shrubbery. The vista gave the impression of something wild but not intimidating, a strip of nature that could be explored and enjoyed by rugged outdoorsmen and weekend hikers alike. Were it not for the Tesla slowly rolling toward Leon's rental car, he might just lose himself in the undulating terrain for an hour or two in an effort to release the stress-induced ache lodged between his pectoral muscles. But he couldn't afford to lose focus. The sleek sedan concealed a particularly reprehensible human being. Leon was something of an expert when it came to reprehensible human beings. He was waiting among the stubby trees that lined the granite path winding up the hillside. Though not officially part of Ritter Ranch Park, the pull-off granted access to the 4,000-plus acres of beauty through what had once been a homestead. A sign planted next to the turnoff proclaimed the spot as the future home of a Baptist church. But if the rusted, corrugated steel siding and sagging roof on the standalone garage were any indication, it had been years since this stretch of land had been inhabited. It would have been easier and quicker to meet the Tesla's driver in the gravel lot, but Leon had no intention of doing so. Though he'd lost his hand, he'd managed to keep his head, which was more than some of his fellow captives could say. This was because, contrary to the public persona often cultivated by those in his chosen profession, he was a cautious man, and this caution extended to the plethora of cameras that littered the Tesla's body. Leon was also old, and in his profession, age either came with wisdom or not at all. The vehicle eased to a stop. The driver exited, closed his door, and then opened the gull-wing passenger door.